Our next guest says levels of illiteracy are found in our youth who end up in the care of the Department of Correctional Services, DCS. Here with us to discuss this topic, Clinical Director and Senior Associate Clinical Psychologist. Right? That's right? I knew that. Vera Billet joins us this morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Vera was just with me on the She Leads. What's it called?
Conference.
She Leads, but he was a...
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
The only man.
Actually, you're nice. He was the only man on the panel. It's good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
What's going on in our centers, high level?
Well, based on my understanding, based on a report that was done in Parliament recently, it was reported that about 83% of our juveniles in these centers are illiterate.
83%.
83%.
When we say illiterate, we mean...
Based on my understanding, it could be from not being able to read, write, not being able to do basic math, to the point of not operating at the expected level. So they could have some ability to read, write, and do basic math, but it's not at, you probably have a 17-year-old operating at a grade 3 level, possibly.
You may or may not know this, because it may not be in the report. When I read it, I said to myself, they were illiterate before they got there.
Sure.
It is possible that some were illiterate, did not have the ability to read or write, or struggling academically before they got into the centers. And for others, there may have been a stagnation due to being placed in the centers. And that is a traumatic component as well. Having other issues at home, the reasons could vary.
So I want to go to the first one before we go to the second one, because I want to find out if there's a correlation between illiteracy and what we may call a kind of an aberrant behavior.
Okay. So we could take a guess.
PhD student you're talking
Of
to.
course.
Don't play games. Don't play games. At them, Harris.
Behavioral challenges due to learning disorder would be an academic challenge. That created a space where they didn't get the help that they needed, right? And so if you didn't get the help that you needed, you didn't find that connection, then you're going to turn to activities, spaces that give you the attention. And I have a thing that I say where any attention is better than no attention at all, which could be the negative attention, but you feel some connection there.
At what age do they put children in? What's the
age of culpability in Jamaica is 12 years old.
From 12. Yeah, so I think you may be right, Harris. I think a lot of them are going in already with some challenges. What is the obligation of the Juvenile Detention Center to run them up to speed in this area? It's not a school, Vera. They say, we're not a school, we're there to address behavioral challenges.
While they have rehabilitative services and programs, including educational programs in the centers, I think really and truly it's a society-wide approach that we need to take, because why should we wait until they get into the centers for them to get the appropriate attention, you know? And I think there needs to be greater public education, there needs to be greater directed effort, special effort into these spaces, into our children, into our people as a whole, looking at things from a trauma-informed standpoint, because we live in a society that has a lot of trauma, and that can impact our behavior or cognitive functioning. And also then taking the step to target specific persons who show signs of these challenges before they even get into these spaces, right? I also think that we need to look at what motivates the behaviors and target those aspects so that we can meet the needs of our people, our children.
Okay.
So I mean, for me, I feel like because they are not able to hit the literacy levels, their ability to
reason,
to comprehend their viewpoint of life
is
limited, and and that influences the negative behavior.
Because let's look at it. If you don't feel safe, why should you put effort into learning something that you may not think is going to be valuable when your more immediate need is to take care of your family, your finances, to have a safe place to lay your head, right? I'm not thinking about learning my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and how to spell words, because that is not my immediate need, right? And if I can find a space that can help me do that, but I may have to trade off doing something else, then...
But let me ask you, I mean, obviously this is something that we need to look into and to, I want to say fix, but geez, there's so many things to fix. And fixes take so long, and right. But what we run the risk of these folks getting back out into society, Veral, as they came or worse. We're perpetuating a cycle of trauma, violence, crime. So how do we fix this?
Well, as I was saying, I think I'm always going back to a trauma-informed approach at the varying levels of society, with everyone playing a part, where we encourage persons to feel safe, it's collaborative, there are choices to be made, and we push for empowerment, which is a very key component in my opinion.
Empowerment, what does that look like in the young people? Giving
them options, helping them to see broader than a small scope that they currently have, helping them to feel safe. I think that is a very key component as well, because if you don't feel safe, then you're going to be very reactive, and we do already live in a reactive society, and we can see the fruits of that already.
I'm trying to think about the remedial solutions, because I feel like there are too many young people who are standing in their pretty clothes at graduation and they can't read. All right. I don't know how they move through an entire school system and can't read or write, and they're still graduated out of school.
It's a systematic failure, no?
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what are the remedial solutions.
We need to look at resources. We probably need to take a look at training in general.
Correct.
Of the various professionals who have a hand in it. We need to take a more holistic approach to development, right? I think we spend a lot of time focusing on just the book. Not all children learn the same way, right? And a lot of kids get bored, or their educational needs are not being met. There are processing challenges as well, and that those things are not taken care of. So we need a more holistic approach to meet the needs of as many kids as we possibly can to
address some of these issues.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not daunted. We move.
We stand.
We move. We move.
Still work nonetheless.
We move.
Yeah.
Thanks, Veral. Yeah. Appreciate it. Clinical Director, Senior Associate Clinical Psychologist, Veral Bullet, with us this morning. Coming up next,
we hear more about the National Police Wives Association initiative.